Rohan's Corner, working overtime, recording fine, that's just prime. Super reviews, which will neutralize Hasbro's wave of crimes. Magic Square to the rescue, and New Age has got such super paintwork. Rohan is the mighty power that can save the day. Rohan. No one knows what lies behind his wall of fame. Rohan, always riding hard on Hasbro's trail. Come see the memes he plays every Friday. Thank you, chappies. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Book of Rohan. And this week it's a bit of a quick show because unfortunately I'm packing for Rollout Roll Call this weekend, where I'll be selling my wares, hoping to see you all there and catch up as per last year with a few new faces. Hopefully, who knows? If you don't know, check it out on Facebook, Rollout Roll Call at Fordingbridge Town Hall. It's a good place to come and see a lot of Transformers and G.I. Joe action figures and buy some. Anywho, this week I've been watching the latest episode of Transformers Earthspark that rolled out on YouTube for all of us in the UK. The first episode was shown. I'm not going to talk about it because I want to give people an opportunity to actually go and see it. It's only been out for a few days, and there are a lot of talking points and probably a lot of spoilers in there for those people who haven't actually had a chance to see it yet. But it got me thinking about a discussion topic that I was having with the guys on the show last week about what is the definition of Transformers as a genre. And, you know, if you're like me and you're interested in fantasy, the likes of Lord of the Rings, or science fiction, you know, the likes of AI and mechatronics and those sorts of things, then, you know, and presumably you are because you're interested in transforming robots, then Transformers has always been one of those medias that has been categorized predominantly in the science fiction genre. However, is it really science fiction, or is it fantasy, or is it science fantasy, or is it a space opera like, you know, George Lucas wants us to believe that Star Wars universe is? And I guess this comes down to the age-old discussion between the folks who like Star Wars and those who like Star Trek, who will claim that one is based on science fantasy and one is based on science fiction. And how far-fetched do you think Transformers is from the realistic world of technology that we've built today in terms of AI does exist today. We have artificial intelligent, you know, beings, well, can you call them beings? Artificial intelligences of forms that we utilize on a daily basis in some cases, with the likes of Siri and Alexa and other elements with, you know, the whatever it's called, Robo-Sapien, Robo-Sen robot that is out there for £1,000 that you can have from Hasbro. Pulse, which I don't think anyone's going to buy. Is that a form of AI? Well, not really, but it does have some capabilities. It has voice control. It has the ability to complicate some features and some move sets that have been pre-programmed. But we talk about Transformers and their real sentient artificial intelligence, then are they realistic in today's day and age? Probably not, I would say. If we look at some of the other sort of sci-fi / science fantasy series that I've talked about in the past, the likes of, you know, Battletech or the likes of robotics, those are a little bit more believable because really they're mechanoids being controlled by human interfaces, and so are just kind of shells, husks of metal and intelligent data crunching, processing machines, but no real life intelligence within them themselves. Whereas Transformers obviously are totally sentient beings. And of course, I'm not talking about target masters and headmasters, where obviously in a headmaster, the actual robot is supposedly controlled by its Nebulon counterpart, or whatever you like to believe in that lore. I'm talking about the actual main Transformers themselves. And then it starts me to think about, what about combiners and how does their artificial intelligence work? Because obviously you've got 5 or 6, in some cases, sentient robots who are working together to build a team. And they kind of covered this in Transformers RID, when they had the RID combiners and the Bumblebee team and the Grimlock team and all those. And then there wasn't one sort of mindset that was controlling them all. They all had to come together. But the point is that I guess all of this is relatively far-fetched from today's ideologies and abilities, but is it too far-fetched to say that it won't be developed in the future? And as a result, should we be talking about Transformers as a science fiction or as a science fantasy? So for me, I grew up thinking I'm not interested in the likes of, Lord of the Rings. I quite liked things that are based in this day and age, this reality that we live in. But then as time went on, I really started to enjoy things that took an interpolated look at what we're capable of, the likes of the Back to the Futures of this world, or Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they are basing upon some things that haven't happened yet, possibly could happen, possibly could not happen. Time travel, will it ever happen? Probably not. We don't think so. And if we look at, what's in the universe today and what we're aware of and what the expanse of the known universe actually contains, there is so much unknown. We just don't even know how many, galaxies are in our universe. We don't even know how many planets are in our own solar system. We don't know so much. We only know a finite amount of information, a snapshot of what we have found out to this date. And, go back in time and, we thought the world was flat. We thought that the Earth was it. We thought that there may be life in outer space, and who knows, there may be, but will we ever find it? Probably not. I guess these questions are all linked to the science fiction versus science fantasy versus space opera conversation, in the sense that, can anything be anything? Can Transformers be what it wants? Is it merely just a cartoon to sell toys and therefore classify it as cartoon robots? Or is it actually something a bit more, where you're taking a concept and building upon it and building some sort of fantasy world? Like, The Simpsons is a fantasy world. Okay, there's a lot of that which is built upon real life human nature and ecology, but ultimately it's all fake. None of these yellow people exist. And so, while it may pick upon those elements, is it actual fantasy? Is it actual fiction? Is it actual? What is it? How do you classify it? I guess it doesn't really matter in the long run scheme of things, especially when it comes to children, because ultimately children is where these elements are, pushed towards. And we were all there at some stage in our collecting careers when we were young and enjoyed Transformers for what it was, and that won't change. But I think for me, classification of science fiction versus science fantasy, it's somewhere in the middle. I'd like to know what you all think. Hopefully this has been an enjoyable little TED Talk, and I will see you again next week, if not at Rollout Roll Call. Thank you for joining me here on Rohan's Corner. Back to the studio.
Transformers, Rohans in disguise.